The Crossbones, page 156 to 187. Monday, June 27th at 12:14 a.m. It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure out I'm in big trouble. The final location is closer to me than it is to Sarah. Those 4 words, under, port, ground, land, could only spell out one place, Portland Underground. I wrote the words onto the skull puzzle and stared at them. Even if we could wait a week, which I don't think we can, Portland is a solid 15-hour drive in the wrong direction for Sarah. There is no way to get her there even after camp ends. So really, it wouldn't matter if we waited a week or a month. Sarah wouldn't be able to do it. This time, the task is going to fall to me. I'm going to have to leave Skeleton Creek, make the 7-hour drive to Portland, and find what we've been looking for. I have a bad feeling about the ghost of old Joe Bush on this one. The first time I saw him, I'd just gotten done climbing a long set of stairs up into the rafters of the dredge. This time, if he shows up again, I'll be under the earth in an ancient tunnel. It feels like I'm about to walk into my own grave and never return. Monday, June 27th, 8:20 a.m. I know what I need to do, but I so do not want to do it. I left home early this morning and came back down to the cafe to think. Today is going to be busy at the shop, getting everything ready for the 2-day river run. It's a trip I've decided I can't make, even though the thought of letting Fitz have my slot is nearly killing me. What choice do I have? The stars have aligned, and even though I'm bound to get into some serious trouble over this, I have no choice. My dad will be gone all day Tuesday and Wednesday. Later today, he'll drive my mom to the Boise airport so she can fly to Seattle. So what does that mean? It means I could be all alone Tuesday and most of Wednesday. No one will be back at the house until 8 or 9 Wednesday night. This is probably my only chance. I can't believe I'm even having this conversation with myself. Am I honestly willing to fake an injury, get into my mom's minivan, and drive to Portland? If I do this and they catch me, I might never drive again. They'll take away my laptop and my phone. My relationship with Sarah will dry up if we can't stay connected, and my summer will turn isolated and lonely. Fitz will outfish and outfly time me all summer. It will be depressing. And all this so I can complete an insane journey. It's an awful lot to risk, but I've decided it's worth it. Now more than ever, it's painfully obvious that Sarah is worldlier than I am. She's in LA at film school, for crying out loud. She just drove across the entire country, and she's right. This is going to be good for me. Scary, but good for me. I need to get out of this place, do something wild. I need to be the one who faces his fears for once. I've printed out a copy of that last sheet of paper the apostle held up, and I know what it is. It's how to get into the Portland Underground at night. It's how to find what I'm looking for once I'm down there. Fitz was beaming. There is nothing a trout bum loves more than leaving the world entirely behind and basically living on the river for days, not hours in a row. He was happier than I'd ever seen him before, which actually felt pretty good. The good feeling went away pretty quick when I fake hobbled back into the cafe and slumped down in my booth. Was I really doing this? How in the world did I even end up in this situation? Voluntarily giving up the best fishing trip of the year, lying to my parents, taking risks like I'd never taken before, it all added up to a serious case of the crazies. Sarah and I were right back where we always ended up, on the edge of disaster. Monday, June 27th at noon. My mom is on a plane to Seattle. Her piece of junk minivan is parked in the gravel on the side of the house. The tires are pretty bald, which makes me nervous. Will that thing even make it to Portland and back? Maybe I should take the bus. Monday, June 27th at 3 p.m. Fitz just took off to clear the trip with his dad, which means he's going to be gone for a while. They cut trees until dark, just like we fish until dark, and my dad's leaving bright and early. Fitz knows the general area where his dad is cutting, but not exactly. He could be gone for a few hours, during which time I'll have to gimp around the shop and wince in pain as much as possible while I help my dad pack for the float trip. I hate maintaining a lie almost as much as I hate telling it in the first place. Every step I take is a reminder of how I'm flat out deceiving my parents. My dad is going to kill me if I get caught. Monday, June 27th at 7 p.m. It took Fitz forever to get back, but he's a go. Everything is set. Tomorrow morning, my dad will drive the truck 2 hours up into a no-cell zone, one wrapped in the bed of the truck and the other pulled behind. He'll pick up Fitz on the way, so the old motorcycle doesn't get left in front of the shop half the week. The truth is, I think my dad believes if it's sitting there while he and Fitz are gone, I'll be tempted to go joyriding all over town. Actually, under different circumstances, that would probably be true. I'd love to ride that thing, but Fitz is very protective. The 4 guys my dad is guiding will follow in their own car. Then they'll spend an hour doing the song and dance to move a rig 20 miles downstream, unload the boats, drive both rigs down, leave the truck behind. When the trip is over, they'll load up the boats, and my dad will drive upriver with one of the clients to get their car. I know, complicated, but it's the only way to run 20 miles of river without a long walk at the end. The last thing Fitz said to me before he took off for home was thanks. He really did appreciate that I'd gotten my leg all bent out of shape just in time for what might be the only overnight fishing trip of the entire summer. I couldn't begrudge the guy. I'd have felt the same way, I suppose, but it was a little like watching your friend get injured in the biggest football game of the year so you could take his spot on the team. It's not the kind of thing you should thank someone for. Monday, June 27th at 10:11 p.m. My mom called twice to check on me, which made me feel like a 10-year-old. Sarah's right. I gotta get out of here. I'm 16, not 10, and I'm suffocating in Skeleton Creek. Sarah was smart to get out while she still could. Me, I'll probably be running the fly shop and sitting on the front porch feeding my parents soup through a straw when I'm 50. There's no denying the facts. 1, I am lame. 2, I'm too chicken to leave town and I might not go through with it. Luckily for me, right when I was feeling most sorry for myself, Sarah sent me an email. It was maybe the best email I've ever gotten in my life. Dear Ryan, I was going to call you, but I thought it would be better if you could have this in writing, even though writing really isn't my thing. First day of camp was fine. Actually, I'm lying, and I can't lie to you. The first day of film camp was awful. Everyone here is amazing, Ryan. What was I thinking, coming to this stupid thing? Did I actually think a small-town girl from nowhere could hold her own against people from L.A., the film capital of the world? I kid you not, there's a 13-year-old kid here who understands filmmaking a billion times better than I do. His sample project was The Usual Suspects meets Paranormal Activity. So you can imagine what the people in my own age group are bringing to the table. Lighting, setting up, script writing, directing actors, angles, shot selection, tone. Ryan, I'm in big trouble here. I don't know anything about any of those things. I just point and shoot and cut and blend. Being here has made me realize something I never knew before. I'm a hack. Okay, into pity party. Let's talk about you instead. I know what you're thinking. You're not sure if you can go through with it. Well, you can. You, Ryan McRae, you can do this. Is there a chance you'll get in big trouble? Sure there is, but it's worth the risk. And you've earned the right to find whatever the Crossbones are hiding. Just think, if this leads to something connected to Thomas Jefferson, we could be returning something to the world that shouldn't be buried underground. You could change the course of history. All it's going to take is a little courage in a minivan. It's your time, Ryan. Don't let it pass you by. Sarah. She's right. I can do this. I will do this. Tomorrow, life changes for me. I'm leaving Skeleton Creek. I wrote her back. Thanks for inviting me to the first annual Sarah Fincher Pity Party. I think about one of these a decade is enough. Because, Sarah, you're going to blow everyone away. I'm sure of it. Give yourself a day or two. Be a sponge. Take it all in. It's only going to make you better. I predict you'll leave there at the top of the class because you have something a lot of people don't have. Something to say. I'm getting in my mom's car in the morning and heading to Portland. Count on it. R. Tuesday, June 28th at 10 a.m. I know. I should have left by now. If I'm not careful, it's going to be dark before I get there, and that will be a disaster. No way am I going down there alone at night. I'm not even sure I could get in there at night. The map the apostle showed seems to indicate that I could, but was drawn, 50 years ago? I doubt that entrance even exists anymore. Last night, I had a nightmare of old Joy Bush following me down a corridor with an axe. I was standing in black tar up to my knees, trying to run away, but he just floated closer and closer. When I got down on my knees and felt the tar filling my lungs, I woke up covered in sweat. I was too afraid to get out of bed, so I just lay there, shivering in the dark. A light breeze blew my curtain away from the window, and I saw him. He was there. It was no shadow or tree limb. The ghost of old Joe Bush was watching me, his head bigger than ever in the black night. He was staring at me while I climbed out of a tar-filled dream, wondering what I was going to do when morning came. I turned away and couldn't bring myself to look back. I just lay there, texting Sarah over and over. He's here, he's here, he's here. But she never answered. Somehow, against all my efforts to stay awake, I fell back asleep in the early morning before light. I didn't wake back up until my dad was pounding on the door at 8, yelling for me to get up. Skeleton Creek was an early morning town. It was part of the culture. Waking up at 8 was what crazy city folks did. I'm leaving in 15. Let's go over the rules once more, he said, obviously not pleased I'd snoozed so late. He didn't trust me with the shop while he was gone, but I was all he had. I was going to let him down, that was a fact, and it left a hollow feeling in my gut. When I showed up on the porch downstairs in my shorts and a wrinkled t-shirt, my dad gave me my marching orders for the millionth time. No driving. Bring a lunch so the shop stays open. Don't bug your mother. I don't think I'll have to worry about bugging Mom. I bet she'll call me 10 times today. It was sure she hardly ever left town, and I was going to be home alone. I made the mistake of following my dad as he walked down the steps of our porch to his pickup. The limp was gone, forgotten in a sea of black tar the night before. Looks like your leg is feeling better, Dad said. Was he suspicious or just surprised? I couldn't tell. It still hurts, but yeah, it's starting to bounce back. Too late to change plans, or I would, champ. Lay low, get better. We'll get you out there on the next one. As my dad opened the squeaky door to his old truck, I felt a depth of guilt the size of the Hindenburg. He actually felt bad for me for missing out. He called me champ, a rare treat. And I was about to deceive him big time. Here he was leaving me in charge of the fly shop, and I wasn't even going to be here. All I could think of at that moment was that it wouldn't be worth it. No matter what I found out there, I'd lose my dad's respect and trust in the process. That's why it's taken me so long to pull out of the carport. I'm sitting in the van, staring out the window. My hands are shaking. I've been sitting here for almost an hour. Tuesday, June 28th at 12:11 p.m. I'm leaving. June 28th at 3 p.m. It's a 7-hour drive to Portland if I don't stop, and I just stopped. Sarah had her steak and shake, her Waffle House, her Cracker Barrel. Me, I'm at the Kmart loading up on everything I forgot. I packed food for the road, since the smell of fast food in a car makes me want to barf. I was so stressed this morning I forgot to bring a shovel. I loaded my backpack with every kind of tool I could think of, screwdrivers, files, a hammer, a hatchet for protection against zombies and vampires, but I neglected to bring a shovel. I found a folding one for camping that fits in my backpack, grabbed one of the sandwiches I made and a Mountain Dew, and I'm heading back on the road. Should hit Portland by 8 p.m. My mom is on schedule. She has called my cell phone 5 times. I've lied each time. As far as she's concerned, I'm sitting at a fly shop in Skeleton Creek. Tuesday, June 28th at 7 p.m. Bad news. This van hasn't been more than an hour out of Skeleton Creek in 5 years, and I know why. Because it's a piece of junk. I'm stuck an hour outside of Portland at some gas station adding oil. The attendant gave me 4 more cans and said, she's a leaker, but there's not much you can do about it unless you want to replace the transmission, which would cost twice as much as this thing is worth. He told me to stop every 100 miles and pour in another can, and that I should be prepared for the whole thing to go belly up at any moment. Not what I needed. I called and texted Sarah, but she's locked down in class. All I got was this text at 4 p.m. Pick up cell, get yelled at, stay calm. I'm off the grid until break at 8. Perfect. Tuesday, June 28th at 8:30 p.m. Just stopped to load a can of oil and use the bathroom. Last rest stop before Portland. The burning oil smell of the engine makes me sick. Either that or it's my nerves. It's going to be dark in an hour. At least my mom is at the Bon Jovi concert. Well, she'll stop calling me every hour. It's the little things that keep a guy going. Tuesday, June 28th at 9:50 p.m. Driving in traffic is, wow, harder than I thought it would be. I'm amazed I didn't plow right into the big river that cuts through downtown Portland. At least I got here in one piece and figured out how to parallel park. It helped that there were 3 spots in a row, but still, I have parked. The trick now is getting out of the car, which I do not think I can do. Oil is leaking onto the pavement. I can smell it. In my imagination, I can see it hissing as it hits the hot pavement. I'll never forget that smell. Tuesday, June 28th at 10:15 p.m. Sarah called me, or I would have left sooner. No, seriously, I would have. Really, what does it matter? The Portland Underground is closed anyway. It's dark outside. When I go in, just doesn't matter. Maybe I'll wait until midnight. Make it as creepy as I can. If I'm going to overcome my deepest fears, I might as well go all the way. She encouraged me in the best way she knew how, by telling me she wouldn't be surprised if I turned for home without ever going underground. I reminded her that technically, even if I could get in, it would be breaking and entering. The Portland Underground is city property. They give tours down there and stuff, so it's not like it's totally abandoned. Tuesday, June 28th at 11:53 p.m. I couldn't do it. After staying in the car until almost 11 p.m., I walked the 3 blocks to Chinatown and realized, not a great place to hang around at night. Lots of shady-looking characters and all-night bars, and it gets worse. The place where the apostles showed a secret entrance, there's a building sitting on top of it. It must not have been there 50 years ago, but this makes it official. I'm not getting in there unless I take one of the tours. If something big is hidden underground, I won't be able to remove it without getting caught. Wednesday, June 29th at 2 a.m. More bad news. It's piling up, which makes me feel more than ever that I made a big mistake coming here. After I moved the car to a truck stop on I-5 and ate pancakes for dinner at the all-night diner, I decided I better add more oil to the clunker. My hands got all gross, and I went for the glove box, hoping to find an extra rag or oil napkins in there. What I found instead took my breath away. I sat in the driver's seat numb, unable to move. There was a cell phone in there, and it was on. I'd never seen it before, and there was only one reason why it would be in my mom's glove box. GPS. My parents had put it there so they know if I drove out of town. I knew how these things worked. All a person had to do was go online and put in the cell phone number. It would show where I was within about 20 feet. What a sinking feeling. They knew what I was doing. My mom, she knew where I was. She'd always known. Maybe that's why she kept asking me, "Where are you? What are your plans?" How many times had I lied to her while she sat staring at a hotel computer screen, knowing good and well I was not minding the fly shop in Skeleton Creek? What a disaster. On the off chance that she'd actually checked the thing yet, I turned it off. If it didn't work, they couldn't prove I'd gone anywhere. Lies upon lies upon lies. It never stops with just one. One is always just the beginning. Count on it. Wednesday, June 29th at 10 a.m. The first underground tour starts in an hour, and I'm parked a block away. At this point, if I'm extremely lucky, I'll get back to Skeleton Creek before dark. One flat tire, and I'm hosed. My dad is picking my mom up at the airport at 8 p.m., then it's 90 minutes to the house. 9:30 p.m. is the latest I can go. Wait until they find out I drove all the way to Portland and back. What a fun conversation that's going to be. Signing off until I finish the task at hand. Underground tunnels full of black tar, here I come. Wednesday, June 29th at 1:12 p.m. Horrible, horrible, horrible. It was bad down there. He was there. I don't have time to write. Gotta drive or I'll never make it back in time. I'm freaking out. Wednesday, June 29th at 4:10 p.m. The unthinkable has happened, but at least I can take comfort in my journal since I'm not driving. Blowout. 14 hours on 4 bald tires. I should have known better. This is going to set me back another hour while I'm stuck in Pendleton, Oregon. By some miracle, I blew the front right tire next to an off-ramp and rolled right off the freeway into a gas station. They didn't tell me I was a moron for driving 100 yards on a flat. It's amazing what adults will say to a teenager. If it weren't for the fact that I was in such a rush and the tire had begun shredding off the rim, I'd have burned rubber right out of that place for the insult. Not that my mom's minivan can burn rubber, but I dreamt it could as I stared at this good-for-nothing mechanic. There were also 6-foot flames shooting out of the tailpipe in my dream, which torched his stupid mustache off. $92 in an hour. That's what it's going to take, which will leave me with barely enough gas money to get home. Sarah knows everything. I told her already. She called in sick today and stayed in her room just so she could be there for me. What a friend. I mean, really. I hadn't done that for her even once on her long trek across the country. She said now she knows how I feel when she goes out and does crazy things. It's not as fun as she thought it would be. In fact, it was way worse than doing things herself. At least that's what she said. It was the first time we'd walked in each other's shoes, and I think we both had a lot more sympathy for the other from that point on. I recorded bits and pieces of my harrowing trip underground on my phone. Each one has like 30 seconds or something, small enough to email. I sent them to Sarah while I was running to the car. It was the last thing I did before tearing out of Portland and hitting the highway for home. I didn't even know what was on those small files. It could have been nothing, but she posted them already. I think it's just in her nature to cut things up, make them better, and put them on her site. She felt bad for me, I could tell, and she was scared. I think doing the work made her feel better. I wish I hadn't sat on the curb and watched.